Hey guys, how you doing? Eric at SoCal Cigars here. Wanted to do a video today because it is Memorial Day. And first thing I wanted to do is thank those of you who have sacrificed and served for this country. I know it's a debt we could never repay. It's a debt we will never understand, having not been in. Thank you to my grandfather, Pierce Lee Sill, who was a Marine and served in the Pacific Islands, and to my father, Charles Andrew Monroe, who was in the Navy on a destroyer and served during Vietnam. And I have a lot of other family members that have been in as well, and a lot of friends that I ride with and associate with that have served. And again, I wanted to thank you for what you've done to support the freedoms we have in this country. And again, like I said, it's something we'll never understand, having not been in, and something we can never repay. But anyway, that being said, today is a day we're typically out in the backyard having a good time, barbecuing with family and friends. What better time to have a cigar, right? So I looked through my stash upstairs and I came across one that I've been kind of hanging on to. It's a weird one. It's one I got in Missouri on a trip. And sorry if you're going to hear a lot of planes. I live near an airport that restores World War II planes, and being Memorial Day, I'm sure that a lot of those planes have been hired out to do flyovers for events. So we've been hearing all morning. It's like our own little private air show. It's been pretty cool. Maybe I'll cut in some video. I mean, I haven't been able to get very good shots, but I can at least maybe put a couple things in here that'll show you the planes flying over. It's really cool. But anyway, a few years ago in Missouri, I went to a place. Actually, when we were in Missouri, we went over to Arkansas, and I went into a cigar shop there in what was that called? Eureka Springs. And there wasn't really anything too unique there, but I did find this one cigar that I thought was kind of weird, and I've never seen it since. It's called Earth by Cojimar. It's Cojimar, and it says supernatural infused tobacco, and it's called Hardcore. I don't know how well you can see it, but that's all it says. And there was another one next to it that instead of being called Hardcore, it was called Love, and it was all sold out, and these were almost sold out. So I sort of went off that theory that if they're almost sold out, people are buying them, and if they're buying them, I don't know, they must like them. And it does say infused tobacco. So again, I don't know what it is. I don't know what the infusing is. I don't know anything about it. Maybe I'll try to look it up and I'll put it in the description. I'll at least put in the description what this thing says on here, so if you can, try to find it, maybe you can give that a shot. And if I like it, I'll probably try to find it as well. But let's open the sucker up. More planes coming over. Let's get that whiff. Ooh, interesting. It almost smells like incense. So, probably star anise is part of what that is. And a little bit floral. Interesting. Okay, well, let's try it. What do we got to lose, right? Oops, we don't need that. Let's get the kit out. Again, I encourage you guys to build a little kit like this. It is handy. Going to use the Calibre Deep V, right? Do a normal cut. Nice juicy cut, nice and deep. Ooh. That's interesting. They flavor the tip. It almost tastes like cherry. Interesting. This may prove to be a decent cigar after all, for being a weird one. It's very windy today, so I'm going to use a little triple vector lighter. Gotta toast this sucker up a little bit here so we can get an easier light, especially in the wind. This definitely helps. I'm going to give you a couple pro tips I learned recently of this during this video, so stay tuned for those. Remember, like I said, never judge a cigar too quickly, because the first few pulls are always going to be from when you lighted it, or lit it. So it's going to be a little deceiving until you get past that. Interesting. Okay, well, have to get into this to see what we think. And of course, I went old school. This was one of my favorites. This is Mountain Dew Code Red. So let's see how this tastes. It's my pairing with the Earth Supernatural Hardcore. Yep. Oh yeah, always a crowd pleaser. I don't know if you can hear it on the mic, because I have a directional mic that's right at me, but right above me there's a ton of airplanes going by. Sounds awesome, man. There's nothing like that hum of World War II plane. You're just so unmistakable. Interesting. This isn't very overpowering. I'm not tasting a ton of infused flavor. Still getting a little bit of that, almost like a cherry flavor on the outside. They clearly put something on there. Pretty good though. So one pro tip I wanted to give you while we're getting into the cigar is, in fact, you wouldn't know it by watching it probably, but, well, no, you know what? I think I reshot that video. I can't remember now. Either way, I'd done a video recently, and I did it in the morning, and I smoked a cigar, and I hadn't done all the things you're supposed to do. I hadn't eaten, I hadn't drinking anything really, not enough at least. And also it was the morning time, which has something to do with the way your blood sugars are and the way things are working in your bloodstream when you're talking about nicotine. So there's something to be said about it being early morning as well. But man, I got sick. And I've been smoking cigars for a long time, and I know all the washouts for what to do and what not to do to get to have a good experience and not get sick. And man, I got sick. I was in bed for probably about 2.5 hours. It was pretty bad. And so I watched a couple videos recently, and one was by the owner of Perdomo. His last name is Perdomo. I'm sorry, I can't remember his first name. So I want to give credit where credit's due, but he had mentioned in his video that a lot of people that smoke cigars a lot, or even work in his factories, they always keep a little, either packet of sugar or some kind of like a mint or some sugary something in their pocket. And he said that when you start feeling a little bit sick from a cigar, sugar in your stomach will help, because it does something with your blood sugar. It raises your blood sugar, and it does something about the coating of your stomach, and it actually will help you feel less nauseous. He also said something about like milk, but he said that the big secret in the industry is always having a packet of sugar with you. So if you start feeling a little bit sick, you can put that in your mouth and swish it around and swallow it, and you should get some relief. So there's a little pro tip that came right from Perdomo. Interesting. So it's not a ton of flavor. Not a ton. I don't really get a lot of infusing off this either. At least not yet. Yeah, I'm having trouble even getting something to describe. So another thing I wanted to talk about too, another kind of pro tip, is to really watch your humidity in your storage of your cigars, because two things can happen. If your humidity is too high, the cigar is too full of moisture. And what ends up happening is you end up having to relight, and it goes out a lot, and you're having to hit the cigar and hit it and hit it and hit it. That can also contribute to you not feeling very well, because now you're having to hit the cigar way too often. The other side of that is if the cigar is too dried out, it burns too fast and too hot, and it actually changes the flavor a lot, and the cigar burns way quicker than it was ever intended, and the flavors you're getting aren't going to be what was intended either. So you got to really make sure your humidity is in that sweet spot. And for me, that's like 65 to 68. Like I even know a couple of videos recently, my humidor had gone up to about 74 in humidity, and one of the cigars I was smoking, it just kept going out, and I was relighting and relighting a lot. And that really does take away from the experience. You're looking to really sit and relax and enjoy a cigar, not hit the thing constantly and start getting nauseous because you're hitting it constantly or relighting it all the time. I mean, you should be able to set your cigar down and have a conversation with someone for a few minutes and not have to worry about it going out constantly. So really keep an eye on your humidity. So that's maybe pro tip 2 on this one. Just, it's more important than you think. Interesting. So that tip flavoring kind of went away, I'm assuming, because it's something on the outside, so it's just temporary. They never last that long. But in the cigar, I'm not getting a lot out of this cigar. I'm trying to retrohale. Well, if nothing else, I can tell you what it's not. It's not bitter. It's not peppery. I mean, I can taste there's infusing in it. I'm not really, although it smelled a little bit like that kind of like clovey, that star anise flavor, at least the smell. I'm not really getting that very much. I am getting like a coating in my mouth from this. I mean, I'm feeling and tasting a little bit of, like I said, almost like that incensey. Almost like if you burn incense, you get sort of that, it's almost like that kind of a smell, or a flavor. It's interesting. I'm wondering, I'm not into it deep enough yet, but I'm really curious to see how this thing changes or develops, or if it does. Yeah, see, the infusing is there. I'm getting something on it. And again, it's almost like that, I know it's a weird way to describe it, but it's, like I said, it's like incense. And I'm getting it in the back of my throat. I'm getting kind of a coating in my mouth. But nothing predominant. I'm not getting any hits of things that are like, it definitely tastes like this, this, and this. Yeah, I'm getting that flavor. It's starting to get more pronounced as it burns through that beginning part of the cigar. I'm starting to get that flavor of a very, very subtle infusing. It doesn't just taste like a straight tobacco cigar. You can tell that they've done something to it. Just can't really peg it down, which is odd. You're an interesting thing. Alright, well, let me pause on this and let this get down a little deeper so I can maybe start getting some flavors out of this thing. So stay tuned. Okay, I'm back, and I've gotten deeper in the cigar. So note the construction is pretty good. A little bit of wonky burning, but overall the ash is tight. It's holding on. You can see this was constructed, actually a well-constructed cigar. So now that I've gotten deeper into this thing, maybe I'm a third into it, quarter, third. I am getting a background tone of cherry. So I know they had cherry on the outside. I could tell that for sure. But it also feels like there's some infusing with that cherry as well. Still getting that kind of, and again, I hate to put it this way, because also I know saying incense is, there's a million kinds of incense, but I don't know, maybe like sandalwood or what are your basic incenses. It sort of gets that background flavor of just incense. And on the base of it, though, I'm getting kind of a grassy, earthy note. But overall, it's not. I'd say it's not overly complex. I would say it's a mild cigar. I'm not feeling tons of nicotine on this one. The burn is good. The construction is good. I'd classify this as just basically a pretty mellow, basic smoke. I guess the big question is always going to be, would I buy it again? So would I buy a box of these? No. If I saw these again somewhere, would I pick one up? I probably would. I see this fitting into the category of you want a very mild, mellow smoke. Maybe it's a morning smoke, maybe with a cup of coffee. I can see this going really well with a cup of coffee. So I would say it's definitely, is it 10 out of 10? No. Is it you've got to go try this like today, stop what you're doing and go to a brick and mortar and buy this now? No. If you run across it and this sounds interesting to you, the cherry, incensey, earthy note thing, give it a shot. It's a good cigar. It's a mellow smoke. The smoke production is good. The quality is good. The draw is good. I mean, it's a good cigar. And I get that. It's a really pleasant aftertaste. It's not bitter. It's not peppery. It's not spicy. And I've just got this. I can tell I'm gonna have this aftertaste. I can feel it through my nose and through on my tongue, the back of my throat. I get that incense, and I love incense. Just if that gives you any indicator, I love incense. I've got a freaking box upstairs of incense. Everywhere I go, I love to find like artisan incenses where they make them. Like in Missouri, we go to this really cool place with my cousin Mary, and they have some like custom made or homemade, however you want to put it, incense that have like almost looks like it's got sand stuck to it, the big granules. It's really cool and it really smells good. So when I say incense, to me that's sort of a compliment. I like the fact that it tastes like incense. You may not though. And again, that's why you do reviews. You know, you can listen to my review, listen to what I have to say and go, nope, that does not sound like it's for me, or hey, you know, that sounds like it's kind of in my wheelhouse, maybe I'll give that a shot. So again, that base of earthy hay kind of flavor, background note of cherry, very subtle, and the predominant flavor of this is a basic incensey sort of flavor. I'd say I like it. Box worthy, no. Finding a single stick and buying it, I would do that again. Another cool plane going over. So yeah, I would say if this sounds like it's something you want to try, I would say give it a shot. And I would like to find that one that was called Love instead of Hardcore. Because now I'm curious to see the two against each other, because that one was sold out. This only had like 3 or 4 left in the box. And a box of like 20 or 25. So someone's buying these things. Someone likes them. And I'll tell you, my humidity's just right in my humidor. It was at 67.4. I looked at my Cigar Oasis. My other box, my Tupperador that I've got of overflow cigars in, that was kind of high. That was at, I think it wasn't too bad either. It was like 68 or 69. The temperature was up at 74. So I can tell you, because I've been talking, I've been not hitting it, and I've never really had, I haven't had any issues at all with this thing going out. So I'm telling you, getting that humidity right absolutely will affect the experience you have when you smoke a cigar. You have to have the humidity right. I can't emphasize enough. So I think some people, some people, one, just don't know. They get cigars maybe as a gift. They don't really smoke cigars much. They throw them into a desk drawer and they just kind of let them sit there. And by the time they smoke them 2 years later, it's basically kindling. It's so dried out. They're not getting any flavor. It's burning hot. It's burning fast. It's, to them, they're probably going to be like, cigars are okay. But when you do it right, and you have the temperature right, and you have the humidity right, the environment right, and you really take care and tend to your cigars, then you're actually going to get what the blenders and what those manufacturers were trying to get you to experience. But you have to do the back end work on your end to keep it right. You can't just let these go. You have. That's why I've always said that to me cigars are a hobby. It's something it's like a garden. You tend to it. You're out here snipping things and cleaning things and pulling weeds and whatever. It's like that with cigars. You've got to tend to them. You got to check your humidity. You got to make sure it's right. If the temperature's too high, you got to figure out how to resolve that. You maybe move it to a different part of your house, put them on the floor. Maybe have to get a refrigerated unit, which unfortunately it has its drawbacks. But at least I know if it gets too hot up there, I can plug it in for a couple hours and then unplug it again, and not really whack the humidity out too much. But just understand, if you want to smoke cigars on a regular basis and you want to get the best experience you can, there's a little bit of back end work involved that you really, one, need to do, but two, should enjoy. I enjoy it. I like going through my collection. I like looking at I got an app on my phone to make sure I get alerts if my temperature goes too high or the humidity's off. Like any hobby, you really typically only have a hobby because you actually enjoy it. And so for me, cigars is a hobby I enjoy because I like all the details about it. I like the technological kind of side of it too. I like figuring out the humidity. I like the problem solving. Why is this humidity going up? It doesn't even make sense. I like all those aspects of it that really do make it like a hobby. It's not just smoking them. Obviously, the end goal is to smoke the cigar and have a good experience. But I think all aspects of this have their merit, have some fun involved. So, it's a good hobby. I like it. What more can I say? Ooh, and now look. So the first time I'm going to have to ash this thing. And I was talking way too long that time, and it actually went out. The cigar just proved me a liar. Well, they're just going crazy right now. Well, it's the midday, so I'm sure that a lot of these planes that have been hired out for events, this was probably the peak time that they were going to do the flyovers. At least that's my guess. So, it does go to show you, though, the cigars won't stay lit forever. If you talk too much or you set them down too long, they will go out. But again, this one has been a good experience. This one's stayed lit, except this one time. And I would say that was kind of my fault. But I'm going to remove the band. I'm going to save this band so I can get that information. A lot of times I'll take pictures of the bands if I like the cigar, so I can remember it. It's good to have an inventory like that so you can keep looking back at things, especially ones you like, so you remember. Because if you go through a lot of cigars, sometimes you forget, like, oh, what was that one I got back in wherever, and now I can't remember. Just take a picture of the band, so at least you can refer back to it. Yeah, see, that was a very subtle touch-up, and this thing's right back in action, so. And I'm telling you, with an infused cigar, a sweet drink like a flavored coffee, like a cappuccino or whatever, a sugary soda like a Mountain Dew, Pepsi, any of those things, really complements infused cigars. I would say it's maybe not as much of a compliment to non-infused, but that works well with this for sure, especially because the cherry, that's actually Code Red is cherry flavored. So it's kind of piggyback on the cherry flavor I'm getting from this as well, which is kind of ironic. Yeah. I keep wanting to give you guys something more like, it tastes like oak, something like a standard, one of those notes you tend to be able to throw out there. It's just not there. It's three things. It's that earthy grass flavor, it's that cherry background, and it's predominantly that kind of incensey flavor. Interesting. Yeah, I mean, I would probably buy this again if I saw these in a store, because I've only ever seen them in that one store in Eureka Springs in Arkansas. I've never seen these anywhere else. Yeah, I'll have to look it up on the internet and see if they're around. I really want to try that Love one now, because that seems to be the two that were in boxes right next to each other. They clearly were the same brand, and that box is empty, so someone likes them. Yeah, that's kind of it. I mean, nothing's really changing. I guess I don't have to sit here and make this too long a video. I don't think much is going to change on this cigar, but I would say it's again, my nose, my tongue, the back of my throat's all got this nice coating on it that, because sometimes you get a back or an aftertaste of a cigar and it doesn't taste good. This tastes really good. This is something I can tell is probably going to sit there for a few hours after I'm done with this, and it's a pleasant flavor. No bitterness, no peppery, no spicy. It's very smooth. The smoke is kind of creamy. And yeah, just those three basic notes. So yeah, I'd say if this sounds like it's something you might want to try, maybe try to find this thing, because again, I think I bought this it must be 2 years ago now that I bought this, and again in Eureka Springs. I'll put a picture up of the place, so if you want to maybe contact them, or if you're ever in that area, it's not far from Table Rock Lake. So if you go to Missouri and you go to the Ozarks, a really popular place that people go is Table Rock Lake. And if you just keep driving past Table Rock Lake, you end up going into Arkansas, and then you end up in Eureka Springs. And it's kind of like an artist community. It's pretty cool. All the shops are basically artists putting their wares for sale. A lot of glass work, a lot of sculpture, a lot of ceramic work. There's restaurants. There's like a haunted hotel you can take a tour of there. There's a lot of places to eat. It's a cool little tourist town, but it's really cool. If you're from Southern California, the only thing I can kind of liken it to is if you were to go down to like Laguna Beach during like the Harvest Festival thing, where they have all the art stuff out there. The whole town is like that all year long. That's all it is. But there's a cigar shop in there that has a really nice humidor upstairs. A lot of cool stuff. You're kind of on your own on that one. I'm not going to badmouth them, but let's just say they're not overly helpful. But if you go up there and look around, you'll find some cool stuff. So I definitely recommend going there if you're in that area. So, and maybe I'll try to find these online, see if I can especially find that other one, the Love one. Anyway, yeah, that's about it. This tastes the same. It's not changing. I don't think it's going to change. I don't want to sit here and drag this out, so you guys can go enjoy your Memorial Day. Maybe thank those people around you that have served. Let them know you appreciate what they've done, because it was by no means a small sacrifice. They gave up a lot of their youth. They gave up a lot of time. They gave up a lot of security they could have had by not doing that. I mean, you're putting yourselves in harm's way to give us what we all take for granted. So my advice is, don't take it for granted, and understand that. You hear this term all the time, but it's so true. Freedom isn't free. It's paid for. And the friends and family that you know that paid for it for us, show them some love and some appreciation, and let them know that you actually care that they did what they did for us. I know I do. I know I appreciate the guys I hang around that I ride with that were in the service. My relatives who have, my grandfather has passed away since then. My dad's passed away. My Uncle Paul, he was on a aircraft carrier. He's passed away. So there's a lot of these guys not around anymore to thank him personally. But there's a lot of people that are around. Take the time to thank them. Let them know that you appreciate what they've done. Because it takes a special type of person to go in and do what they did, and then have to come back and then go back to just normal daily life. That's not easy either. That's why you see a lot of people with PTSD, and a lot of the suicide rates are high. And we really need to take care of our vets and let them know how much we appreciate them, and we need to do better by them. We really do. And with the VA, and with being able to go outside the VA, whatever needs to happen, we need to be doing that, and we could be doing better. And shame on us for that. We need to step it up. So anyway, hope you guys have a fantastic Memorial Day weekend. Have some good barbecue, family, friends. Maybe have a great cigar. Maybe some drinks in moderation, and thank the people around you that served, and really enjoy the day, and help them to celebrate and be thankful. Again, Eric at SoCal Cigars. Enjoy, and I will see you on the next video. Take it easy.